Set aside petty claims of devotion. Here it is through force of arms that we earn our miracles. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Gamer's Den. With me, your host, Jordan, your master of lore and storyteller extraordinaire. Still on the road to recovery, but we are here again today with another episode of the Pathfinder Warpriest Guide. Today, taking a look at their 5th level spells, we are nearing the pinnacle of their spellcasting ability. But before we get into all of that, if you're new here to the channel, go on down there and hit the subscribe button and become a regular member here at the Gamer's Den. Join our historic alumni. Or, if you've already made yourself known on such a great and legendary roster, then go on down and hit the like button and share the video far and wide to help us grow ever further. But now let's go ahead and dig on into the heart of the matter with all that said and done and out of the way. To begin with, we have a spell that's just great, once again, no matter whose spell list it pops up on, and that's True Seeing. It's a standard action to cast, it's a touch range for one target creature that's touched, lasts 1 minute per level, and it allows them to see out to 120 feet, piercing through normal and magical darkness, seeing secret doors that have been hidden away with magic, or see through blur effects, displacement, invisibility, and other illusory effects. This will also allow them to see the true forms of polymorph creatures and transmuted objects. Really, just a very handy utility spell to have on hand. And then, something just a touch more combat-oriented, we have Constricting Coils. It's a standard action to cast, medium range, goes out to that nice 100 feet plus 10 feet per caster level. You target one creature with it, and it lasts 1 round per caster level. Will saves do negate it, and there is spell resistance allowed for it. This spell works as hold monster, but the target is constricted as if within the coils of a snake that deal 1d6 plus 6 points of damage to the target each round that it fails its save. A successful save will end the paralysis and damage effects. So it's hold monster with a little damage kicker on it. Not bad at all. Actually, it's pretty great, even though you can only target one creature, and yes, will saves are allowed each and every round. And spell resistance is allowed. That's a lot to overcome, but you know what? When you need this for that target with the low will save, say you have a skull crusher ogre bearing down with a great two-handed maul, it's probably a solid pick for hitting with this and keeping them out of the fight for at least a couple of rounds. But then we move on to another spell, Angelic Aspects. Some of the guides that I'd read through did not put this up all that high, but I think this is a really great one to have. It's a standard action to cast. You target yourself and it will last you 1 minute per level, so this can get you through a couple of combat encounters pretty handily. You take on the aspect of an angelic being, gaining the benefits of protection from evil, low light, and dark vision out to 60 feet, resistance of 10 to acid and cold damage, and a damage reduction of 5 versus, with evil being what overcomes that. You also gain angelic wings that provide a 30 feet fly speed with average maneuverability. Your natural and wielded weapons are treated as holy for the purposes of overcoming damage reduction. Those last two are probably the big draw for me. The damage reduction is nice, but chances are, especially if you're any kind of a good or neutrally aligned Warpriest, you're probably going to come up against evil creatures with evil aligned weapons or natural weapons that will count, so that's nice to have for a lot of the regular riffraff. But that fly speed and the maneuverability and the fact that your weapons are treated as holy, that's really great to have. Can be an option for freeing up some of your enchantment stuff for your gear, all the way around. Just a great utility spell, and this gives you a whole suite of bonuses that aren't bad. Acid and cold resist, great. The dark vision and low light are especially good. Not enough to make you a great nighttime ranged attacker, but still gonna be really handy overall. And then this next spell is one that's not going to be useful for combat, but is great for afterwards. Maybe even works better as part of a staff or some kind of enchantment item. And that's Raise Dead. It's a 1-minute casting time. You touch the target dead creature and it requires 1 diamond worth 5,000 gold pieces. So pretty spendy. You restore life to a creature who has been dead for no more than 1 day per your caster level. So if you're a level 15 caster, they got 15 days. The target's soul must be free and willing to return. This return will cause 2 negative levels to the creature. A first level creature will instead take 2 constitution drain instead. The target will be raised with the number of hit points equal to their hit dice, so a level 10 creature will come back with 10 hit points. Normal poison and disease will be cured by this, but magical diseases and curses are not. So, again, you get this a little bit late, but still, this is a great one to have just as an option to cast, even if you're not going to cast it same day. You get a couple of days, especially if this is a party member who has died in the same fight as you. You don't have this spell ready, well, you just wait a day, pray for it in the morning, get out that 5,000 gold piece diamond, and bring your dead party member back. But again, pretty expensive to cast, and also there is room for the DM to mess with you here in that the soul must be free and willing to return. Most player characters, they're probably going to be willing to return, but there's the question of if the soul is free. So the DM may make you jump through some hoops, but overall, generally, if you're willing to spend 5,000 gold pieces in valuables to bring somebody back, most DMs will let you make that burn. That's probably a fairly even trade there. But then we come to a spell that's a lot less useful. Way less useful. I tried to look at this one, see if there's maybe some roleplay benefit, and there kind of is, but even from a roleplay perspective, this still just isn't great as a 5th level spell. This would have been better as, 3rd? It's Snake Staff. It's a standard action, medium range, so that 100 feet plus 10 feet every caster level. You target 1 or more pieces of wood, no 2 of which can be more than 30 feet apart. Lasts 1 round per level. You turn a piece of wood you see into snakes that you can mentally direct as long as you can see them. A venomous snake will count as 1 snake. A constrictor snake counts as 2 snakes. Advanced venomous snake will also count as 2 snakes. Advanced constrictor snake counts as 3 snakes. Advanced giant venomous snake counts as 4 snakes, and advanced giant constrictor snake counts as 5 snakes. What's this counts as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 snakes business? Well, you're limited by the number of hit dice that you have, and that affects the number of hit dice worth of snakes that you can create based off of however many sticks are in the area. I didn't really list everything here because I wanted you to see just how crazy this gets in terms of keeping track of how many hit dice you have versus how many hit dice worth of snakes you can create out of sticks. The problem is, though, this is a 5th level spell. Snakes, even the advanced giant venomous and constrictor snakes, are not that great. Really not that great or all that useful. And the instant you can't see them anymore, you really lose control of them. And it lasts 1 round per level too, so it's not lasting a great long time. The creatures you're creating are not going to be that useful in combat against most of the opponents and combat encounters you're going into. I mean, again, this feels a little bit more like a roleplay kind of thing. You're getting into that biblical brimstone and fire, 10 plagues of Egypt, showing up the priests of Ra and throwing staves on the ground to turn them into snakes. But it doesn't really do the trick. This is a spell that you're safe skipping, and a lot of other spells like this you're probably safe skipping. I mean, shoot, for the 5th level spell list, I mean, there's a lot of interesting and good options, but there's also a lot of bad ones. Like, gosh, there was Spell Steal and Serenity. Cure Light Wounds Mass is another one that's just not great for you to take. Plenty of spells to really skip over. I mean, Cure Light Wounds spell, if you're new to tabletop game, especially Pathfinder and 3rd edition Dungeons and Dragons, healing is better off being done afterwards, after a fight, and you're better off using it as a wand. A wand of Cure Light Wounds is going to be the most bang for your buck when it comes to healing, so skipping something like Cure Light Wounds Mass is definitely a must. You don't want to be burning a 5th level spell slot on a spell like that. Use True Seeing instead, or Angelic Form, or Righteous Might. Any of these other spells that give you some significant boosts in combat, or have a great deal of utility like True Seeing. But what do you think? Go on down into the comments below and let me know your thoughts. Did you like today's video or dislike it? Hit those like or dislike buttons and let's engage in the discussion down below. And like I said before, if you're new here to the channel, hit the subscribe button and become a regular member here at the Gamers Den. But with all of that said, I've been your host, Jordan, your Master of Lore and Storyteller Extraordinaire. Thank you so very much for your time. Have yourselves a good night.